and welcome to Springing Up. This is Sarah Webb, Community Engagement Librarian with the Clark County Public Library, and we are going to discover what's springing up in Springfield and Clark County. Can you guess where we might be exploring today? That's right, we're going to go see some local community gardens, and you'll get to know some amazing organizations that are growing great things right here in your community. Ready? Let's go! Hello everyone, I'm out here at the future site of Melrose Acres. With me is Sherry Chen, coordinator of Springfield, Ohio Urban Plant Folk, or SOUP. And we're out here to discuss about the future plans for this beautiful site. So thanks for having me here, Sherry.
You're welcome.
So tell me more about this site.
This site is 7.5 acres of green space. It also, there is a house here. They are two separate properties at this point in time, but used to be all the same property. The grant, the USDA grant that we are under, is allowing us to actually recombine everything and purchase both. What's sweet about the history of this place is that there used to be gardens here, and there actually used to be a greenhouse that extended off of the back of this little garage, and I've heard stories that the kids used to be able to come and pick vegetables here that lived in the neighborhood. So that's kind of a sweet opportunity for us to be able to kind of reignite its old purpose, because it's a beautiful site. It's a beautiful site.
Wow, that's amazing that you can kind of continue that work. Awesome.
Yeah.
So how is the site organized as it is today?
Well, at the moment, we've been doing a garden here for about 4 years. Tridestone Baptist Church owned this prior, and we were allowed to garden here and store things. Again, it's been, we have now under the grant been able to purchase the property, but we will be doing things with a lot of permaculture methods, permaculture is a way of working with nature instead of against it. It's observing patterns in nature and working with those. And so it's going to look a little different than your kind of traditional straight row gardens. And to start out here, what was interesting for us is that we haven't had access to water. We do not have a water source here because the house has the water source that was originally with the property. And so when we put our transplants in, we water them in just with water we haul here. But we have, again, paid attention to nature's patterns, and we paid attention to the direction that the water sheets off the property when it rains, and our beds are put in perpendicular to that water flow so that it captures the shape of the lay of the land helps to, and the beds helps to capture the water as it sheets off the property. And then we use other strategies. We're going to be doing some no-till gardening, which means you don't rototill unless you're creating new beds. And there's a variety of methods within that allow you to smother weeds either with black plastic, weed barrier, or deep mulch. The deep mulch helps us retain water. And so what doing no-till, and what's really fun is that we've been doing no-till for a couple years and then realized this winter in some conferences that what we were doing had a name. And that it was actually a current approach. And the focus of no-till is to allow the carbon that gets sequestered by the microbiology in the soil to remain there. Because when you rototill and you chop all that up, not only are you kind of destroying the habitat for the microbes, but you're also releasing the carbon that has been sequestered. And with climate change going on, a lot more of this kind of attention needs to be paid to our soil.
Wow, that's amazing. So what kind of programs or activities do you have planned here for the future?
Oh, it's exciting, and this is stuff that we had to propose in the grant, so we will be moving ahead with it. We'll be planting 2 separate areas in fruit trees, and we'll be planting, we just got our initial batch of trees, apple, cherry, pear, I believe pear, pawpaws, and we'll also be doing a berry patch, which will be black raspberries, red raspberries, and black raspberries. In year 2, we'll be doing a hoop house. This year, going going into next year, we'll be putting something out here called chicken tractors. This area has a wooded piece that is part of it, so we have a lot of predation, and chickens are really, really susceptible to predation. So chicken tractors are just mobile chicken pens that you can pull through the area, so that you are not only spreading out their manure so that Mother Nature can take care of that microbial stuff, but they're also going to be able to fertilize as part of that. So being able to move them around does require labor, but it does also, again, work a little bit more in, what I want to say, in conjunction with nature's patterns. So we hope also in this more public area that'll be here to have a labyrinth and some sacred spaces, quiet spaces, and public gathering spaces, so that we do plan to have field trips, and the community will be welcome. We would like to, in the house, there's space in the house once we can use it, where we can have, there's a very large room where we can have gatherings and workshops, and we'll probably, we're looking to have a resident caretaker live there. It helps with some of the maintenance and the oversight, when we aren't here working. So those are we're working really closely with Community Solutions, which is based in Yellow Springs, and Central State University Extension. Those are our primary grant partners. We have a lot of many other community partners within South Springfield, but those are our big support. Those are our 2 big support systems. So to make the grant happen, to help us write the grant and make the grant happen. So yeah, it's with some of their knowledge and assistance that we're able to do this. So
that's incredible. So out here on this site, what are some of your biggest challenges?
Water, obviously, these last 4 years. What was amazing to us was that by using deep mulch, and we watered our seedling, or when we would transplant, we would water them in, which you have to do anyway, pretty much anywhere you are. And then we would deep mulch them, and they were kind of on their own then, and we haven't watered here for, in terms of like mass watering, we can't. And so what that has happened is that we and the plants have had to figure that out, and even in the year, I believe it was 2 years ago, where we had a pretty droughty summer, and what happens for the plants is that they may not produce a lot because they're stressed, but we did not have dead plants during that summer, which was pretty amazing. That was what we expected.
Yeah.
I think part of what happens is that the deep mulch does help to retain water in the soil after rains. You need to remember too that what you're actually planting into is this huge sponge. That's what the earth is below us. So, if you can retain as much moisture as possible, that helps that the plants, can go ahead and initially get what's closest to their roots, but then as that sponge begins to dry out on the top, they have to go seek. They work with us. They seek out, they grow deeper roots. They seek out maybe broader roots. They seek out. So it really is, it's been amazing to us how well that has worked. We do need to be able to water, but we are also going to be setting up water capture here. We have barrels here that we're going to be hooking up to the little barn that's here, and then once the residents who live here have had a chance to move out, then we'll have access to a water supply. But we're still going to do most of this summer without a whole lot of water.
Excellent. That's amazing. That's amazing
So,
what you're able to do. That's incredible.
yeah, it's fun. It's a different set. It's a different kind of problem solving. But I think as long as you're doing that in conjunction with nature, you're not working against it.
Right.
You have a little bit more. Not only do we learn different lessons, but sometimes you have some success.
Right.
So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Excellent. So, in your vision for the future of Melrose Acres, what does victory look like to you?
That the community feels like this is theirs. That really is the long-term objective. This place, part of the goal of writing this grant was to preserve this gorgeous space for South Springfield. To turn it into a place that provides a place where people can learn, a place where people can interact with nature, a place where people can learn from nature. That's the dream, is that, we didn't want to see it turn into a parking lot and apartment buildings, which, could have happened. And it was just such a gem. The soil is clean. It doesn't have lead in it. It's been lead tested. It's a wonderful size to use for a whole variety of things, and it'll just give people opportunities to come garden and take away food. We basically work on work shares. If you come and work in the greenhouse and help grow stuff, you get to take plants home. If you come help garden, you get to take food home. If you come work in one of our neighborhood farm stands, you get to take food home. And so it just is a nice give and take. We call it work shares, but it really is just a system of give and take. And we really want the community to input ideas for this place, to come be here. We're gonna, it'll get more of a takeoff and a send off after the residents have had a chance to move out. We're not bringing a lot of people here just yet.
Sure.
This summer.
Sure.
We have a lot of development work to do, and we must meet the requirements of the grant. When you ask folks for money, you need to do what they want their money to do.
Exactly.
And it is a 4-year grant, so we have our work cut out for us for the next 4 years. But after that, we'll have a little bit more freedom. We do have a community group that's kind of dreaming ahead, that meets once a month, that kind of going, can this be a place where small businesses can take off? How can we use this place to meet needs and interests in the community? So we're up for listening.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
So thank you so much for having me out here. Moving forward, how can the community get involved?
So what we will end up having is a Melrose Acres website and Facebook page for sure. We're working on that development right now. Soup itself has a Facebook page, although we don't keep it really active because we have 100,000 other things that we're trying to get accomplished.
Right.
But I am trying to get some of our recent activities posted there. Let's see, my email address, people would be willing to email me. It's sherrychen1199@gmail.com, SHERRYCHEN 1199. Joe Young, who teaches at School of Innovation, is a grant coordinator. I'm farm manager and he's grant coordinator under this grant. And they could also, if they know Joe, get in touch with Joe.
Okay.
So it's a little bit scattershot right now, but with regard to, we hope to have by later this summer the website and the Facebook page up and running. So the grant is brand new. This is all brand new. So we'll have better, what do I want to say, better access as we can develop the programming and the communication systems around this.
Excellent,
So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Sherry,
Oh,
for
thanks-
having me out
thanks for
here
doing
on this
this.
beautiful property, and we look forward to more exciting updates and plans from Melrose Acres in the future.
Yes, and you know what? One last thing.
Yeah?
I think Marianne would be really upset if I didn't mention that our bees are here, and we will be expanding the bees. Yes, she's our resident, beekeeper, and she's amazing. So we do have bees here already, and we will be having more as time goes on. It's not written into the grant, but it's in our organizational plans.
Excellent. So don't forget about the bees.
Don't forget about the bees. They're critical. But thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow, there is so much inspiring work happening at these community gardens. Here's a sampling of blooming books at your library to help keep your inspiration growing. If you have any questions about what we shared today, feel free to shoot me an email at sweb@ccplohio.org. Also, don't forget to check the library's website to see more of our original online programs just like this one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.